Hi there. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about something which is relevant and probably important to most students applying for a master's program, which is what happens if I'm considering a change in my field, change in the field of study from what I did in my bachelor's program and what I intend to do at a master's level, and how does this impact the application and entire admission process, and how should I go about doing that? Well, this is a fact that is very, very true for most of us. Well, consider, for example, that you're somebody who studied engineering in, let's say, the field of electronics and communications engineering, and you now wish to go in for a master's program, but wish to change your field, let's say, to a more popular field such as computer science, data analytics, or something similar, right? Now, the question that you want to ask yourself is, how realistic is this shift in my field? And how do I convince the university or the particular department that I'm applying to that my application is worth considering, right? And this is an aspect that we're going to consider in today's video. Well, the first aspect is that remember that most universities in the US end up admitting students from a broad range of backgrounds, right? Which means they admit students who have studied a varying sort of list of programs, and they're not very picky about what kind of a background, what kind of a degree you have studied prior to this. But having said that, it's also important to know the program, know the particular department and university requirements before you go ahead and apply. And what that means is that a lot of the universities and specific programs end up having the requirement that students must have completed the basic fundamental courses in that particular field. Let's say you're applying for a program in computer science, masters in computer science, then the expectation is that you need to have, a basic understanding of computer systems, of computers and programming, and that this fundamental knowledge has been covered, through credit courses that you did in college. And if indeed that's not something that you've done, then they could actually ask you to, do a catch-up course before your actual master's program begins, right? So that's a requirement that a lot of technical programs in the US, universities in the US tend to have. And the other end of the story is also that a lot of universities end up giving you a conditional admit on this basis, right? Which means that you get a conditional admit with the condition that you complete the prerequisites in terms of credits required in specific domains, in specific areas, before you can start your actual master's program, right? So what this means for you as a student is that, when you're at the stage of shortlisting universities and programs to study, you need to get, deeper into this aspect. You need to find out what are the prerequisites for the program that I'm applying for, and will I be able to meet those prerequisites based on my bachelor's program, or will I have to take a bridge course before I start my actual master's program, right? So that's something that you need to research, you need to decide at the stage of shortlisting itself, right? And talking about shortlisting, the second thing you can do at the stage of shortlisting is to be smart in the kind of programs that you choose, right? Now, in today's world, the current trends are that most master's applicants tend to go for programs that are interdisciplinary in nature, and which means that they focus not on one particular field, but actually combine two or more fields and focus on each of them, right? And so this gives you a golden opportunity, because what you can do is you can try and marry your prior field of study with your, the intended program, intended field of study, and try and marry them and find programs that offer that kind of a combination, right? So the mantra here is that when you're doing your college shortlisting, make sure that you look at interdisciplinary programs. A lot of universities in the US tend to, combine departments, combine disciplines and fields, and offer them, roll them out as a single program, right? So these interdisciplinary programs are what you should consider as top priority in case you feel that you need a shift of fields. The second reason why I say that is also that current trends dictate that a lot of students end up going for programs that have a research component, right? Which means that you also open up the possibility of probably a doctoral study later on. And most of these, interdisciplinary programs also tend to be research oriented. Alternatively, they tend to be industry oriented, which means that you end up, working in labs on specific applications that the industry is currently, favorable to, right? And so that can really boost your profile. So all I'm trying to say is that at the stage of shortlisting, make sure that you conduct a deep research into prerequisites, and also try and, find programs that are interdisciplinary in nature. Let's say you're somebody who come from a background of mechanical engineering, but you wish to go in for a program in computer science or data analytics. Try and find a program that, a degree that sort of combines these two areas, and offered, that program piece is offered by the university that you're applying for. Well, number three is that, is the need to convince admission committees. And a very, very important way in which you can convince, admission committees is by demonstrating an expertise in the field that you wish to study, right? Now, in case you're somebody who's just finished engineering, just finished your bachelor's program, and you wish that, you figure out the need to actually boost that aspect of your application, you wish to demonstrate greater sort of connect with the intended field of study, then you can choose, if you're in college, you can choose to go in for internships, or research projects in that particular field, right? Even if you're a mechanical student, I'm sure if you collaborate with students from other departments and work on projects that happen to fall under the fields of study that you wish to pursue in your master's degree, then those kind of indulgences, those kind of things that you do in college can really impact the way admission committees will consider your application, right? Alternatively, if you're somebody who's working, try to find a job in that particular field which you covet, and a year or so of experience in a particular field can definitely give you a grounds up understanding of that field, even if it's not backed by credit courses in college. It at least comes with a practical understanding of the field, of the domain, from an industry perspective, right? So consider gaining relevant work experience, maybe even pushing back by a year your application, and strengthen your application, strengthen at least an expertise in that particular field which you wish to study. And the same thing about convincing admission committees and departments about your standing in that particular field can be done very, very strongly by a well-worded statement of purpose, right? Remember, universities and admission committees very closely scrutinize your essays, application essays, and statement of purpose. So make sure that you craft a good story that connects your prior background, your prior field of study, with what your future goals are, right? Obviously, you need to spell out why that is a particular goal for you and why you feel you're inclined towards that particular area. But stitching this together in a good narrative on your essays, on your statement of purpose, can really convince the admission committees, right? And when you're doing that, make sure that you also highlight the kind of relevant courses you've taken at college, or maybe conducted research or job experience that you've gained, in order to marry that interest with some background knowledge, with some basic fundamental understanding. And finally, if you're trying to convince the admission committees by your statement of purpose, make sure that you close the loop by also getting a letter of recommendation from somebody senior, somebody at a convincing position, which could be a senior professor in your college, somebody whose credentials are of value. Alternatively, if you're working, contact your employer, somebody senior, somebody who comes from that particular background which you wish to get into, and try to get a letter of recommendation from them, something that is going to convince the admission committees, the department that you're applying to, that, hey, I've got the skills that I need. I'm going to understand what you deliver in the classroom, and I'm going to be able to apply it in the real world, right? So, and remember that all of this is not just important for your admission, it is equally important for your visa process, right? Because visa officers tend to ask similar questions about, how is your program of study connected with your prior field of study, and a good strong letter of recommendation, a strong statement of purpose can really make that a lot more convincing, right? And last but definitely not the least, a very good way of convincing admission committees is to actually show a strong academic character, right? And that means that if you're still in college and you have the opportunity to do so, please make sure that you score a very, very high GPA, right? And scores anywhere in the range of, a CGPA of anywhere in the range of eights, late eights, early nines is definitely looked at very, very favorably by admission committees. So try and vouch for that, try and attain that in college as much as you can, try and improve your grades in the final few semesters. Most students tend to drop off once, the final semesters are on the horizon. But if you're looking to study abroad, then maybe this is the opportunity for you to actually gain some extra ground and improve your CGPA, right? And the other thing you can do in case, let's say, improving your CGPA is not an option for you, consider strengthening other aspects of your application. And one thing that readily comes to mind is that you can try getting a really high score on standardized tests like the GRE or the GMAT. And what that can do is that can convince the admission committees that here is a candidate with a very, very strong analytical and academic bent of mind, and well, he's going to be a good fit for our program, right? So test scores, a high CGPA, any sort of research, internships you can do, any sort of gainful employment that you can avail of. Basically, make sure that you do everything in your power to strengthen your overall profile, because, well, a change of field is definitely possible, but it's more likely if you have, a strong profile when you're applying to a top university abroad, right? And all of this information that I'm giving you is actually something that we've gathered through our vast network of mentors across the globe. We have people who've studied various disciplines, various programs in top universities across the globe. And well, any mentor that we have on our platform will readily connect with you, can really give you some personalized advice on what kind of program fit would you have based on your background, based on your GPA, based on your specific profile. And so all you need to do is click on the link given in the description, and we can offer you our entire gamut of services, right from the stage of shortlisting universities, preparing for standardized tests, creating strong, impactful narratives in your essays, letters of recommendations, or even impressing the jury when it comes to personal interviews or online assessments, right? So all of these are things that our mentors and our very, very student-centric team can really help you with. So give me a shout if you have any questions. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, comment if you have any queries you'd like me to answer. I hope you like this video. See you in our next video and wish you all the very best in the meantime.